Yo, dude.
Congratulations, David Lee Scales.
Thank you.
You're here.
I feel heroic.
You're a father.
All that effort that I put into labor, rearing, all of it.
You sat there, all the nursing you're doing late at night. David Lee,
Crazy.
bravo.
Heroic. Celebrate me.
Celebrate David Lee Scales. Celebrate fathers everywhere. Every day is Father's Day.
It's crazy. As intense and traumatic as the experience, the actual labor experience was for me, I feel like I cannot say a word about it because Lauren's experience in it was 1,000,000 times more intense than mine. And I don't mean to say like I need to share it. I'm saying I have zero interest in anybody
taking
understanding
credit?
In what?
In taking credit? You don't want to take a little credit there?
Not only taking credit, but just like, I'm not even going to complain. Like, I'm not going to complain about anything. My back hurting from sleeping in the hospital, little pull out bed or anything like that, because it so pales in comparison to what I witnessed.
But you should start complaining more about that. You should start about the little lack of sleep you got during those days, things like that. It's important.
It would be funny. I'm already low man on the totem pole. Like, obviously the baby, Lauren, Sophia, the dog, and then I'm number 4 in the household already. So once I start complaining, I might just get booted.
That's okay.
How have you been? It's been 2 weeks.
I miss our weekly chat. It's a podcast size hole in my heart when we miss it.
That warms my heart. Thank you. I miss it too. I honestly didn't pay attention to surfing much. And so now I'm catching up, and there's been a lot of stuff happening. A lot of father-related news.
It's everywhere. Once you become a father-related news comes out of the woodwork.
Is that what it is?
Maybe not. Maybe this has been an extra week for fathers.
Hey, so that's another crazy realization for me, is that as intense as the experience was, I cannot believe every human being on the planet has been through it.
Yeah, every single person walking around has either been birthed or given birth.
Right. And so, like, we were at one of the best hospitals in Southern California, with every possible technological advancement, machine, blah, 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 blah. And it still felt very precarious. Like anything could go wrong at any time. If that 1 out of the 7 nurses wasn't here, we probably would not survive this. So the fact that you guys did it at home, right? You did a home birth.
Yeah, home.
And people survive.
Upstairs.
You survive.
Everybody survived. Everybody's alive. Everybody's walking around.
Where does all the blood go? Where does all the viscera go?
There's not that much, I think, and they do a fantastic job, the midwives do, of prepping the bed and then cleaning it up right after, where that's part of what they're great at. So it's like, get baby into mother's arms, everything is cleaned up, and everybody's laying there cozy.
So you did it in your actual bed?
Yeah.
The mattress didn't absorb anything.
Nope, they really lay down some nice materials, I guess, that's like instantly gone.
Wow. All right. Good job, midwife.
Yeah, midwives. Midwives are the unsung heroes of our day.
I think there's a show dedicated to them on the BBC.
Oh, maybe they're sung heroes then.
Yeah, in Great Britain, they're sung.
Yeah.
So in relation to father news, Gabriel Medina has made it Instagram official. Lenny did a big gender reveal. I feel like we should start with the Gabriel Medina one, and I'm going to need you to fill me in on this whole story, because all I did was read your guys' headline, which took me about 5 minutes to decipher. I couldn't quite understand what the headline meant. And once I realized you were using Instagram official, I was like, oh, now the sentence makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the story there?
So I think Gabriel Medina's travails with his stepfather, Charlie, and what's his mom's name again? I should know his mom's name.
I don't know that I ever knew it.
Oh, it's in the story there. The breakdown of that relationship was made very public this year, right? With Gabriel I guess, essentially firing Charlie as his coach. Gabriel then going on and winning another world title. A new, fresher, happier Gabriel. Meantime, Brazil tabloid media is all over the story of the massive breakdown, the infighting between, between camps. Apparently, Gabriel's mom being upset at Gabriel's wife and all this kind of stuff. And so in the midst of all this, it seems like Medina has gotten back together or spending more time or public time, I suppose, with his birth father, Claudinho.
What's Claudinho's last name?
I don't know.
It's Ferreira.
Is it?
It's Ferreira.
Are Gabriel and Idolo brothers?
That's the question.
Cousins.
Did you say Claudio?
I think it's Claudinho, but maybe
Claudinho. So
yeah.
Did Claudinho sire 2 world champion surfers?
I'm gonna say yes.
I think he did.
He must have. Because did you see Claudinho kind of looks a bit like Idolo?
More like Idolo than Gabriel.
For sure. A bit soup canny, little thick. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm shocked that you did not pick up on this detail. See, a listener actually sent it to me that the last name was the same as Idolo's. And so I just presumed that was going to be the main kind of focus of your article, and that in the comments section there would be a deep dive with tons of comedy, but I hadn't had the chance to go check it. So I'm shocked that nobody called that out.
No, but this is time for another article right here. Question.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what kind of superhuman DNA would Claudinho have to have? I mean, obviously it's Goofyfoot DNA. We know that much.
Sure. But also, I mean, if it's true, let's posit that it is true. Shouldn't Brazil then take Claudinho and just put him out to stud? I mean, like a thoroughbred racehorse, and just start having as many kids. Like Brazil would dominate forever.
100%. There needs to be statues erected.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, and Claudinho, he could live on a big ranch. Just treat him exactly like a thoroughbred racehorse that won the Kentucky Derby. Out there roaming around his finca, just siring surfers.
I want to see a feed bag attached to around his shoulders and neck, so he could just dip his head in and eat whenever he wants.
Ooh, just some Brazilian churrascaria in there, some nice,
exactly,
fine barbecued meats in the feed bag.
Somebody just combing his hair, brushing his hair all the time, re-shoeing him whenever he needs it.
It'd be so nice, slipping nice cariumas onto his feet, nice fresh cariumas every morning.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Did you see, this is a side note or off topic, but there's a Netflix series called Bad Sport. No. And each episode is about some sporting, I don't know, somebody cheating at sports or somebody throwing a game or whatever. And one of the episodes takes place in the equestrian world in the US, where there's the Budweiser family and like the most moneyed families in America all play in this world where they're buying $250,000 horses to compete against each other. There ends up being somebody hires a hitman to start knocking off horses. Ooh. So the whole episode is about the hitman and all the different horses that he killed over the years.
How did he kill them? Did he shoot them or did he?
No, he electrocution.
So he would go in and just like shock them.
He'd put like a probe in their butt and I think one in their mouth, because electrocution mimics a natural death that occurs in horses. That's kind of like rare, but it happens. And so until there was a pattern of this kind of uncommon death happening frequently with these top show horses, they didn't really connect the dots, but it was really fascinating.
How much time did the hitman have to serve for his crimes?
I forget.
Was it a lot? Was it like killing humans, or was it like dinging some cars?
It was more like dinging cars, like less than a decade.
Wow. For killing just a lot of horses. Did he have to pay a big fine?
Yeah, he owed a bunch of money. There was a couple of people that were like organizing it above him, like horse trainers that were vying for supremacy. And so I think they took the bigger fall than he did.
Was Bob Baffert involved though?
I don't remember that name, no. But it was fascinating. So we're gonna have to protect Claudinho from potential electrocution from Dino Andino. from Dino, from Ross Williams, from
Yeah.
all the other coaches out there.
Who would be though the best other surf sire? Josh Kerr? I mean, I guess he only has one, right?
No, the Florence fathers. The Florence father.
Florence father. He would be like his stud farm in Hawaii. He would be so mad. Why didn't Hawaii put Mr. John Nathan Florence, Ivan Florence out to stud?
Well, I don't know if he's in Hawaii.
Is he not? I thought he was.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know much about him. Why?
He wrote a book.
I know he did. That's funny. Did you read it?
No, I think Derek did though. I think Derek read it, and I think there is a book report on Beach Grit somewhere.
Oh, there is. Was it excellent?
Yeah. I think Derek was underwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't think it was John, Nathan, Ivan approved.
Yeah, but I do believe they've hung out since it came out. So
okay, cool.
Maybe it wasn't so damning.
Yeah, to be honest, now that we're talking about it, I remember. I think Nathan did a vlog with his dad at some point, exactly. Which is great to see. This is the year of reconciliation between fathers and sons.
I mean, it's the year of the father. It's perfect. We got Claudinho. We have Mr. Florence. We have. Why didn't Kelly Slater have more kids?
Maybe he does.
I mean, it's a good point. That is a good point. He keeps his one daughter very secret, and so maybe the rest of them are all extra secret.
He learned. I mean, honestly, that would be the strategy. If you were, I mean, you want to keep certain things private, obviously, and that would be an important one to keep private.
And I would think that we would see a bunch of bald little rippers coming up now, if that was true. If Kelly had sired superstars.
Yeah, I don't know.
There was the long time rumor that Kelly was John's father.
I know. I feel like we might have started that rumor. Like, I remember discussing it on a podcast. I don't know with who. And I feel like it was an original idea, but it's an idea that a lot of people could have as an original because of Kelly spending so much time there, because of the pipeline connection, all that. The timeline works, you know? So.
But the only thing that doesn't work is John looks absolutely nothing like Kelly.
That's a good point.
He could look less like Kelly, in fact.
That's a great point. Sometimes that happens, though.
It does, but not like rarely does it happen to the point of you seeing someone and being able to draw zero connection to the birth.
Yeah.
Like there's some kind of, I see this little thing or that little thing.
Does he look like Alex? Like Mom John? He doesn't.
He doesn't really. And I saw pictures of Dad John too, and can't really recall him looking like Dad John either.
Right. And neither does Gabriel look like Claudinho.
No, but you know who does look like Claudinho?
Idolo.
Yeah.
Man, crazy conspiracies going down.
Oof.
So if we did originate the John Kelly connection, we certainly originated the Idolo and Claudinho connection.
Definitely. But I feel the Idolo Claudinho connection has more heat.
Well, yeah, I think so too. So is there any backstory about why they were estranged in the first place or what brought them back together?
No, I don't think there was much detail. I think it was suggested in the Brazilian media that the estrangement was engineered by Mother and Charlie.
Yeah, that's what I was going to guess without any information at all. And it's horrific to hear. But I mean, we've all had friends who have gone through certainly divorces, and you hear parents bad talking one another when you're growing up. And so there's a possibility that dad simply didn't have access to the kid and mom was off living her new life. She might have had justifiable animosity towards her ex-husband, but that doesn't necessarily translate from father to son. Like he wouldn't necessarily, maybe he was a shitty husband. Maybe he was bad to the mom. Doesn't mean he's going to be bad to the kid. You know what I mean? And so the mom projects that picture onto the kid when in reality, it never would have turned out that way for the kid. It's really unjust.
He might have been, though, also, I have no information. He might have just been a straight deadbeat dad, too. And
who knows?
And Gabriel went out and found him just to rub his new thing in his old thing's nose.
And so that's kind of the other curious part of the story is why such animosity towards his mom and his stepdad.
I mean, I think it seems like, again, Brazilian media has done a fantastic job of flipping over all the stones in that story. And of course, there's, financial stuff. There's the mom was on, X amount of paycheck from Gabriel that got cut in half, and the business is going bad. And yeah, there's all nothing sours like money.
No kidding. Don't do business with your kids, right?
Never. So funny. Like I've heard before the don't do business, family and business don't mix, etc., or family or business and friends, business and loved ones, I suppose. And it's more or less true. Like I feel very fortunate, and I don't know that I would necessarily call this a business or Beach Grit a business for that matter, but I feel like everything's all good there. But man, I've seen them tumble around me.
Especially once the numbers get that big,
Yeah.
millions of dollars and stuff. And so it's what we can see. So all of this stuff is just rumor and innuendo. We're completely speculating about all of it. But the one thing that we're not speculating about is that Gabriel actually seems happier and more actualized than he ever did before.
Except the problem is here, we got a big problem on the horizon now. Just today, the rumor out that the World Surf League is going to require immunizations for Hawaii and Australia. And it wouldn't be necessarily that the World Surf League is requiring them, but that Australia will require it. And so ostensibly all surfers competing, and I think it was suggested too that Hawaii was going to be mandating it too for people competing in surf events. So then surfers will have to get vaccinated, which leaves, I don't know that Gabriel has or hasn't, but in the past, he was a noted skeptic on his Twitch stream. Remember that?
I do. Yeah.
And Kelly, of course, has opened up multiple fronts over the past couple of weeks, really going all out on no mandates, right? And totally. So does that mean that Kelly and Gabriel will not be surfing this year?
It is a great question. I think they would have to be, you have to be so anti-vax to jeopardize your career in that way. Like I could see them putting down their foot and just being like, no, I'd prefer not to get the vaccine, and I'll take whatever risks. But when it comes down to your, multi-million-dollar a year surf career at your prime, potentially winning world titles, what do you care more about, that or the vaccine, or not getting the vaccine?
Sure. I wonder if Kelly, though, because Kelly is very adamant, not necessarily anti-vax, and he goes on record saying he's not anti-vax, but that he's anti-mandate, right? He does not want to be told what to do, which is a completely valid, I totally get, and I'll just go ahead and say I support. Like, I don't like government mandates on anything, right? And so maybe Kelly is willing to say, no, I don't need another year on tour. I am not going to have a government tell me what to do.
Put your money where your mouth is.
He's just maybe doing so.
I know, it's interesting. And I agree with your speaking for him. He doesn't need another year on tour. Like he can check out at this point. He's not going to win a world title this year. So,
yeah.
But we do have a world title winner who called in with a listener line call that relates to this exact topic. I'm going to play it for you.
Brother Chavs, Brother Scales. Hey, this is in lieu of Medina retiring. I was thinking about, we have been getting robbed, Medina v. John. So how do we get that? And I was thinking we let Medina take the year off. That'll give John a light year to fully heal. And then we just shut this whole thing down and we go Medina, John, Medina, 2 years. Those guys battle it out. Maybe that's a little extreme, but yeah, I'm no expert. So what do you guys have to say?
The guy who's literally an expert. I'm no expert.
A world champion, but I completely agree with McConaughey Hobgood in that that's what the world wants, right? The world does not want, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The world, I think, wants or would respond well to like a UFC style matchups, right? Where you have heavyweight bouts, but like CJ says, even if they did it for a year, right? Where you put, how many waves? You put CJ, I would like him to surf too, but he could be the undercard. But you also have Gabriel and John as the title card, the title bout in which waves? Pipeline, Chopu, Cloud Break,
J-Bay,
give me you'd mix it up. You'd mix it up to lefts and rights. That's a pretty good mix of lefts and rights right there.
Yeah.
And then throw in, I'm gonna throw in a trestles, right? Or a snapper.
Yeah.
Throw in like a high performance smaller wave. And boom. I mean, you could sell that as pay-per-view, each one.
Yeah. What I like about this, or I guess it doesn't need to be a world champ.
No,
it doesn't need to be a title race. It could be an exhibition event. Yeah. So
it's just, best surfer in the world.
The WSL already does exhibition events. They've done the Future Classic. I don't know what else. I can't think of any others, but they do these exhibition events every once in a while when they have a reason to. And this seems like a better reason than any of that. And with their effort to do a finals day, because they loved the idea of number 1 and number 2 coming up against each other in the final event of the season, the finals day thing was a little bit manufactured and forced. I feel like they can have the tour as it exists currently, and there can still be a world champ with that scenario. But based on the last 5 to 10 years, we all can agree that the John Gabriel head-to-head matchup has not occurred as often as it needs to occur. And they both have 2 world titles. Due to what CJ... Oh, that's right. Gabriel has 3. So John's been out with injury, so he hasn't been able to. So this would be a perfect opportunity. And Gabriel already stated in the Brazilian press that he's considering taking a year off. John could benefit from a year of healing. So as CJ said, just Gabe, go ahead, take that year off. John, get back to full potential. And then let's reconvene in 2023. And let's do, it doesn't even have to be a full tour. It could just be 4 stops, 4 venues. Cloud Break, maybe Sunset even, if, because I think that challenges everybody in a different way. So Cloud Break, Pipeline, G-Land,
J-Bay, and then a left. One more left. I think you'd have to go Chokes.
Okay, fine. Chokes. Well, if we got Pipe, Cloud Break, and G-Land already, that's 2.5 lefts,
That's true.
and then Sunset and J-Bay are 2 rights. So that is so compelling to me. They could build so much story around that. We would pay for it. Charge me $60 to watch all 5 events. I would pay for it.
The idea that it needs to be a tour, that this idea of a tour is the best thing, like a tour with heats and seating and all this is the best way to conduct professional surfing. I don't know how that's so baked in, right? I would, and I could say it now, but I think I truly would much prefer a boxing or UFC style card thing where you have your top cards and then your undercards, and you let the undercard guys kind of come up in the rankings, right? But you just put surfers people want to see against surfers people want to see. Like, who would you want to see Idolo surf against?
I mean, either of those guys, or Felipe would be the most interesting pairing.
With Idolo?
Idolo as a goofy footer, Felipe as a regular footer. They're both kind of real high energy, tons of airs, power. I think they'd be great. Idolo's got him in the barrels, but maybe Felipe's got,
Who'd you want to see Eitan Osborne against?
So that's where CJ's other call comes into handy, is if this becomes what we're talking about. And by the way, they can all benefit from the proceeds of the pay-per-view. So the ones who sell the most views end up getting a larger paycheck at the end of the day. Well, now we've figured out who the actual competitively best surfers are. Let's put them against an internet superstar, maybe an Eitan Osborne. Because Felipe, regular footer, versus Eitan, regular footer, that's an interesting pairing.
See, isn't it? And I think you could change the format a bit, right? You wouldn't have it be a 45-minute heat. You could have them in the water for 2 hours. I think that would be fair. And you would just, I don't know, judge you could change everything, right? Where again, this idea that the current format of professional surfing was given to Moses on the top of Mount Sinai and taken down to the people and is holy and can never be changed. I don't understand. It just doesn't seem like it's the best use of time or space or resource, or that it showcases the best surfing, right? Like,
I agree.
inevitably you're going to get safety surfing where in this kind of head-to-head format, you better be throwing haymakers.
Completely. I love this. I think this is
DJ.
really good. And the other detail that we've talked about in the past, judges scoring always gets criticized in every event. Well, the judges have a very hard job, you know, and this would allow them to do the thing that we've talked about where they score after the heat ends. So they have the benefit of hindsight, because at the beginning of the heat, somebody gets a crazy ride and the judges don't want to score it too high and back themselves into the corner. So they only give it an 8 when it, you know, could have been a 9.5. Well, just let the heat play out. And by the end of the heat, look at all the surfing again and say, this was the best ride. This was the worst ride. How does everything else fit within that range? And then you have a very clear
You get it right. You would get it right every time. Like, I think in boxing, right? The judges' scores, I mean, they have the CompuScore scores and stuff that are off to the side, but I think the official judges' scores don't come in till the end. It's not like the judges are updating, you know, heat by heat.
The reason why they have to, sorry, the trash man's picking up right now. The reason why they in surfing have to judge is because there's another heat immediately after that. And they have 8 hours of 30-minute heats back to back to back. But with this, you're not limited by that time constraint.
Nope. I mean, it's beautiful. And again, if enough guys quit tour, we could just start this ourselves. We could raise some money, go get our seed round, go raise money and start a whole new tour.
I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, I got it. Don't you worry. I'll do it right after I get Ben Gravy versus the World off the ground. Ben Gravy never responded. He never responded. Really? I think he must have felt that it was making fun of him.
Well, Ben Gravy's busy and he just got married.
Oh, good on him. Congrats, Ben Gravy.
You know what's next for Ben?
Baby.
Fatherhood.
I would love for Ben to do his gender reveal on a tiny little freight wake in some weird river mouth somewhere, where he takes out his canister and shoots off red or blue while soft topping a tidal bore. So
now you have to explain that to me, because I only saw the image of Kai Lenny's gender reveal. Break it down.
So Kai Lenny gender revealed. As people know, the gender reveal is when you release either pink, because gender reveal right now is probably not very chill with gender being on the chopping block, but it's an old-timey thing from 3 years ago where you shoot off either red smoke or blue smoke, or release red balloons or blue balloons to indicate boy or girl. Kai Lenny, pink, sorry, not red. Kai Lenny recently announced on Instagram that he's going to be the father of twins. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know they were twins.
So I went into his Instagram. I did my surf journalism, went down and saw, oh, he's twins. And so to announce the gender of the twins, got towed into a fairly large Jaws wave and ripped the top off a smoke canister that shot pink smoke into the air, revealing that he is going to be having twin girls.
Wow.
Girl dad, he said.
I trust that he didn't throw that canister into the ocean.
It seemed like he had a firm grip on it, and he was sort of ripping. And I mean, I think he got a little cover-up barrel. I think there was a couple things happening. You couldn't really tell from the angles because they sort of clipped it together, but it seemed like a fine ride. Not that we would expect anything less.
No, but I don't know how. When I was a kid, I was like, jaw swells don't come that often. And so you really got to map it out. How does it just align? Anything that guy needs to do, he happens to be in the right spot at the right time.
I wonder if it wasn't very great jaws, because I didn't see anybody else out. And he clearly towed, so it's not like, it'd be hard to, I guess, paddle in with a smoke canister. But yeah, it seemed like it was sort of wonky jaws.
The mom is Dusty Payne's sister.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Molly Payne.
Wow, that is fantastic. I didn't know that. Should have put that together. Well, I was too busy putting Claudinho Ferreira as Idolo's
Not
father.
putting that together.
Not
I like how you're like, so I did my surf journalism. I went to his Instagram page.
Yep, that's what I did. I went one more or two more photos down and thought, oh, it's twins. Good. Let's add that to the story. That'll make it look like I know something.
Remember, I was like, I can't believe every human being on the planet has been through the birth canal and like that experience. How do moms do twins? Like
Yeah.
I watched the baby come out, and if there was a second one in there, like or three, I mean, it's freaky.
Yeah.
Totally crazy.
It is a wild what the human body can do.
I know. Or teenage girls that have kids, like insane.
Crazy.
Well, congratulations to
Big
Mr.
congrats
Lenny
to Kai.
and Miss Payne.
It was a big week for Kai Lenny all in. I mean, with all the metaverse coming out and stuff.
I know.
With
I need that explained to me as well. How is he involved in Mark Zuckerberg's announcement of Meta?
So Mark Zuckerberg did his announcement to Meta, and then in the middle of it says, "Oh, here," or one of his assistants says, "You have a call from Kai Lenny challenging you to foil, ride the foilverse or whatever." And Mark Zuckerberg says, "Now this is more my style, except," and then he goes into the foil game, right? And there's an avatar of Zuckerberg and Kai Lenny, and then they play foiling, a foil video game where they're both inside. Best is Mark Zuckerberg saying, "You gotta pump it to jump it," and then he pumps his foil and jumps his foil, but still gets second place to Kai Lenny.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen it yet?
No.
Oh, watch. It's all over Reach Grid. You can find it in one of 7 articles.
Yeah, a couple of people sent me screenshots along the way, so I was kind of aware that it was happening. I just been trying to catch up on a bunch of other stuff. So was Kai Lenny's voice in it? Was he actively participating? Wow.
Yeah, Kai Lenny's voice, Kai Lenny's avatar, Kai Lenny, "Hey Mark, follow me," whatever.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Kai's really far exceeded my expectations for him. And I think that he's obviously an immense talent. I think he seems to be the nicest guy in the world, super charismatic. So he deserves it and he earns it. But when he, I don't know, 7 years ago or something, first kind of came into my awareness, it seemed to me like Laird 2.0, where it was almost surf adjacent, and even though it's bigger than, it's bigger than surfing.
Yeah, he is, but just like Laird is bigger than surfing now too, though, right? I mean, Laird seemed surf adjacent, but I think that was just cranky attitudes. Like Laird is a way bigger celebrity than surfing is, right?
So the difference is Laird always shirked or often shirked endemic sponsorship, and he was going for kind of bigger dollars outside the surf industry, which I don't feel like he ever fully received until Laird's Superfoods thing came to fruition. Whereas Kai followed that same model, but actually executed on it through Tag Heuer and Red Bull and whatever else he has going on. And then the Zuckerberg connection to where he's now infused into the metaverse. He's infused into everybody's lives and now the metaverse, whereas Laird is still tangential or on the periphery, I think.
I mean, the other interesting thing about Kai, though, is that Kai is very much in the surf world too, right? I mean, not that Hurley is a quality brand anymore, but sponsored by Hurley, still surfs like the big wave events and stuff, right? I mean, which Laird didn't.
Right.
I don't remember Laird like surfing contests and stuff. I mean, maybe early days, but not peak Laird. He wasn't surfing contests. And so Lenny is part of the surf world. The thing I wonder though, like Mark Zuckerberg has to be, I don't know what his Q score or whatever is, but one of the least popular people on earth, right? And so what does it do to your personal brand when your cart is fairly well hitched to the least popular person in the world? Like, is Kai so Teflon, such a like happy guy and so talented that the stink of Mark just washes right off?
So Mark, in addition to being one of the least like people in the world, he's also one of the most influential people in the world.
Yeah.
And so I think that equation works in Kai's favor. Even if somebody said something negative about Kai, he can have Mark work the algorithm to ensure that he's always being
Number one.
positively mentioned, and certainly benefiting from the sponsorships in those ways, you know?
I mean, yeah, I don't like it. It's testament, I guess, to Kai's personal brand that it doesn't seem like Zuckerberg's stench really lingers on him.
I'm shocked at Zuckerberg's. So if everything that you're saying is true, he is very disliked. I'm shocked that he continues to put his face in front of all of these. Like, shifting the name to Meta was intentional because of the stink that you're talking about, but his face is synonymous with Facebook. So once he attaches his face to Meta, he just carries the stink with him. Why not completely rebrand?
I just like, he's got to have so many yes men in front of him saying, no, like, yeah, our data shows that you are disliked, but it's because of this, and this. It's not because people actually dislike you. I think Mark Zuckerberg, people dislike Mark Zuckerberg and will dislike, maybe they'll use it, but will be distrustful and dislike anything that Mark Zuckerberg puts in front of them. So yeah, exactly. Like, I think it's got to be ego at this point, right? Like all these guys, like Elon Musk is not as, nearly as disliked as Zuckerberg, but he wants to be front and center. Bezos wants to be front and center. None of these guys necessarily need to be. I mean, I guess Musk's brand is him as enfant terrible genius. And so he probably has to be the face of Tesla and what he's doing. But Bezos doesn't have to be the face of Amazon. Zuckerberg doesn't have to be the face of Facebook or Meta. Like, so why not just go behind the scenes? But I wonder if once you go behind the scenes, then some powerful figure comes and rips it. I mean, are they all like basing everything they do off Steve Jobs? Like, Steve Jobs was out front on stage. He was a superstar. And so in order to be a modern tech CEO or, super wealthy, you have to be a superstar.
Maybe they are basing it on Jobs. I'm not sure, but I think that they would actually benefit from a little bit of discretion, anonymity, whatever. I'm trying to think. There's like Jack Ma. There's a bunch of other examples of the world's wealthiest people whose names we barely know and whose faces we couldn't pick out of a lineup. And I think that they're doing just as well as those guys that you just named.
Carlos Slim.
Who's that?
He's one of the richest men in the world.
Carlos Slim?
Yeah, he's Mexican.
What's he known, or where did he make his money?
I think Pemex, or Cemex, or one of those, like one of the big Mexican industries. And then he owns like one of the airlines, and he owns, I think, one of the cell services down there. But yeah, is regularly richest man in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know his name.
Carlos Slim. It's a good name.
Yeah.
It
is a good name.
Yeah.
Way better than Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I've got another listener line. Remember we were talking about Waikiki? And I was saying, yeah, exactly. And you think it's the best place on earth. We were talking about it in regard to the surfboard lockers being burned. We got some feedback from a listener.
Hi, Chaz and David. Comments for the grid here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I am all in with Chaz on this Waikiki issue. Everything you described, the prostitutes, the meth heads, the homeless folks, are the exact reason that I returned to Waikiki year after year. The day the planes flew into the World Trade Center, the week a friend hung himself, and the month my mother passed away all coincided with trips to Waikiki. Surfing beautiful waves amongst the uncontrolled edges of American society has been one of the most cathartic and rewarding experiences of my life. The beach, the bars, and even a little church off the main drag were places where I sometimes raised hell and always healed trauma. Let's keep Waikiki grid again. Anything else would be a disservice to the fine people of Hawaii and a loss to humanity as a whole. Keep up the good work. Take her easy.
Amen.
Boom.
Amen, brother.
Boom. Hard to argue with that.
Impossible, because he's right.
Somebody else named Eric wrote in and he said, I love your shows. You keep me informed and make me smile. Regarding Waikiki and the surfboard lockers, you both have it a little bit wrong. I've been living, working, and surfing in Honolulu for over a dozen years. And David, Waikiki is not as bad as you think, nor is it the paradise that Chaz waxed about poetically. It's been what it is for a long time, geared heavily towards the masses of tourists flowing into Hawaii on a daily basis. And yes, it's a bit overwhelming, and I stay away except to surf. But it's been like that for quite a while. Crowded, loud, and it's a mere shadow of what Hawaii is. And yes, just like the cities around the country, the homeless problem has become worse, as have drug problems and related issues. Yet there are still glimmers of the old Waikiki, and there is still an abundance of aloha spirit if you just take the time to notice. The surfboard lockers are owned and operated by the city and county of Honolulu and have been in that location for 40 years without a problem until 2020. It's hard to imagine any scenario that makes sense for torching it. The city owns it, so there's no competing for that business. People storing their boards there are not going to be renting boards from vendors. The city has provided a real service to the surfing community by offering these lockers for rent at an affordable cost. It enables residents to get into the water more regularly and frequently. For some seniors who surfed Waikiki their entire lives, it provides access to the water that they wouldn't have otherwise. Many don't drive. Many can't carry their boards from parking spots that might be as far as a mile away. And there are always people at the lockers willing to assist if you need it. And I guess that's more of the point. That's more the part of the lockers that sums up the lockers in many ways, the most important part of the lockers, the community that is built up around it, not to mention the incredible surfing history that is evident every day. When I moved to Honolulu, these were the people who taught me about the breaks, about its history, shared waves with me, made me feel a part of it all. People gathered there on a daily basis, maybe surf, maybe just watch the water, talk story, get advice, give advice, and share a small part of the surfing life with each other. I have met so many people who have become friends in and out of the water, people I see around town, people who are always ready to help or share. After the first fire, when my first new surfboard in 15 years, a custom shaped board that I had saved up for a long time, went up in smoke, I got offers to borrow surfboards as long as I needed. After this recent fire, I lost one of those boards that was given to me, and I don't have the funds to buy a new board, but I do have a couple of old boards at home, and I've been able to offer those to friends who lost their boards in the fire. It's that kind of place. The aloha that I've been shown here and what I try to give back is part of what Hawaii, Waikiki, and surfing is all about. Thank you for reading, and thanks for being the best source for surf news and surf spirit. Eric.
Beautiful, Eric. That was a beautiful email right there.
It really was. I think makes me, when I was reading through that and rethinking my rant last time, I think a lot of my distaste for Waikiki, even though I talked about the prostitution and the homeless and the drugs, it's not about that, because that always was there. It's more about the Tesla dealership and the Gucci store and all that sort of stuff.
That's the best part of it. Here's what you need to do. I'm going to give you a chore. There was a time in my life that I hated Florida. I thought Florida was awful. I thought Florida was a blight. And then I thought, writing for Surfing Magazine at this time, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go drive the entire state. So then I did a series of stories, or maybe it was just one, the state I hate, where I had to go challenge my own perceptions. So I flew into Orlando, drove up to Pensacola, surfed with Sterling Spencer, drove over somewhere, went down the entire East Coast from Jacksonville to Miami, back up. Like, I honestly drove every ounce of the state and came away truly loving Florida.
Yeah. And now we have this Florida Surf Film Festival connection.
We sure do. Love it even more.
I know.
So I think what you need to go get yourself a room. I took young Hemingway Rose to Waikiki when she was, I think we went to Aspen when she was 2 weeks old, and then went to Waikiki, I think, when she was like maybe 6 weeks old. So it might have been her first touch of the Pacific was Waikiki.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what? Obviously, you flew to Waikiki, but Aspen, did you fly?
Yeah,
Wow. So you're flying with a 2-week-old.
2-week-old. Yep.
Crazy.
She was on mountain for the Snowboard X Games stuff at 2 weeks, just bundled
Amazing.
up.
Amazing. It's
Yep.
going to be in her blood.
It is. It already is. Oh man, watching last night, Travis Rice, he's got a new project in the works that's epic. And it's awesome too. So we were looking at one of the unfinished copies last night, and just watching her, like, it first come on, her just bury her head in the pillow, like, I want to be in the powder. Like,
Really?
yeah, just got this bug already where just can't wait until it starts snowing.
Well, good for her. Yeah, because it's right around the corner.
Yep, it's here.
It would have been torturous if you showed her that in July.
Yeah, she would have
Um,
hustled us down to New Zealand.
okay.
Gone in,
Well,
snuck into the lockdown.
I'll book a trip for Austin to Waikiki.
Book
Let
a
him
trip for
witness it.
Austin to Waikiki. You and Austin stroll up and down, go into the Gucci store, buy yourself something nice. You're a father now.
I'll show him the Gucci store, show him prostitution.
Done and dusted.
It's the world's oldest profession, son.
Yeah.
So this is no, I haven't seen this in the news at all, but I've been tracking it on Instagram doing my surf journalism. Did you ever watch the Drive-Through series?
Sure did. I think I owned a couple of them even.
Did you love them?
The first ones I really did. Then it got a bit stale, but yeah, I totally love. I can't remember. I want to think that who was in the first one? Was it? It wasn't Machado.
It might have been. I mean, it was Greg Browning's kind of thing.
Yeah.
Donovan, Benji,
Yeah.
Pat might have been. I want to say
Pat
Australia might have been the first one.
No, I think they did one, and then I think Australia was the second.
Japan.
Maybe Australia was the first.
Japan was one of the first.
Did you love them?
I loved them. And
Yeah.
I did have the first one and the second and the third. And then you're right. The premise got a little bit worn out after a while. But for those who didn't grow up when we grew up, the Drive-Through was a series of surf films. This was kind of right at the end of the heyday of surf film, but the strength, it was almost a perfect transition into the heyday of like episodic series that could be streamed online or on television. And I think they actually did a deal with Fuel during that time. So it kind of, but it never really found its footing on Fuel. But anyways, the Drive-Through, the concept was take a group of surfers and drive through a surf destination, Australia, Japan, whatever, and document the entire trip. They did a California one. They rent an RV, go north to south through California, and then put it into a surf film, 45-minute surf film. And what ended up happening was, yeah, sometimes they got good surf and the surfing in the film was good. But really what was more entertaining was all the shenanigans of the surf trip. And it really highlighted the hilarity of Benji Weatherly and Donovan Frankenreiter. And so as the viewer, you found yourself, you didn't necessarily want the best surfers in the world. Like Kelly Slater on the trip, sure, I want to see his surfing, but he's not that entertaining in the RV, whereas Ben Weatherly is just pure comedy nonstop. So it was a great series of films. The point of this whole story is that they're revitalizing it. So I guess
who's going to be in it?
Some of the original cast and crew. So I
Greg
think
Browning?
Greg Browning is behind. I think he's involved in production, but it's Benji Weatherly. I'm gonna pull it up while I'm talking to you. Ben Weatherly, Donovan Frankenreiter is on this trip. They've got some. No, I don't know if Kalani's on full time, but they've got some young bucks. I think Eric Geiselman, Parker Coffin, Dane Reynolds did a stop by. They were at a Surf Ranch this week. So Dane Reynolds came up to Surf Ranch. Griffin Colapinto came up to Surf Ranch. There's a guy who I can't identify. So yeah, it looks like among the old school crew, Ben Weatherly and Donovan are the two key guys. And then everybody else is like visiting. What are your thoughts on this?
Are they driving through California?
I'm sorry. Yeah. This first trip is California, north to south in an RV.
So reprising the first one. I think the first one was California.
Maybe it was. Timmy Curran was in that one.
Yeah.
So what are What are your thoughts on the idea of reprising this?
I don't know. I think it's great. It like some fun nostalgia, and I think that Benji and Donovan are both great in front of the camera, and could probably bring funny stuff out of the surfers that are traveling with them. Surfers who wouldn't typically be, would be a little more closed off, but I think they could and would open up in front of those guys. So I'm all for it. Where is it? Is it a Red Bull thing? Is it streamed? What's the
Fuel TV?
Fuel again? Okay. So
So-
Fuel bought the whole franchise.
So the way I understand it, Fuel owned the franchise already, and they were doing like reruns essentially of those old movies. And then somebody actually bought the rights from Fuel and was going to work with Benji to like revitalize it, but it quickly went off the rails and they had a very different vision. So Benji got back a hold of Fuel and worked a deal with Fuel to buy it back. And now they're actually taking it full steam. So I think it'll air on Fuel. And my initial thought was, oh, this is awesome because I loved it from my youth. My second thought was, I don't know that you can really recreate a time and a place. Like it was so good at the time, and I don't know, it just like it hit in its moment for various reasons. And I'm not sure that you can replicate that, especially with guys who are now 15 and 20 years older and 30 pounds heavier and probably not surfing to their full ability, you know?
The reason it really hit, it also was the zeitgeist of the time a bit, right? I mean, it was like on television, it was the Real World, it was Big Brother, it was like this idea of putting people in a house and, you know, catching the, like the moments, that being the thing, right? That's when the drive-through came up, and that's not really a thing anymore, right? Like, I mean, I think that idea of real world style stuff, you know, everybody's lives are with Instagram and social media and whatnot. People's lives are on blast 24/7. And so this kind of behind the scenes look into how are these guys, you know, when they stop being polite, start being real. Did you watch The Real World? MTV?
Barely. I watched a few episodes of a few seasons.
But that idea though, you know, let's see how these people act, where of course Instagram and social media is always filtered anyway, but you know, this kind of thing is filtered too. I don't know, but I'd like to see, I'll be curious. I'll maybe possibly tune in. I mean, I don't have Fuel, but if they stream it somewhere, I'll probably look at it.
It actually makes me inclined to get Fuel. You know, because I do want to see it.
Man, what is how do you tack Fuel on? Do you have cable? What's the problem with all this uncutting?
Yeah, I know. We have friends at Fuel. We have friends at Fuel who are yelling at us right now for not knowing this information. But you can find Fuel. I mean, the reality is you can find Fuel even if you've cut the cord. You can get it through their website, I'm sure.
Can I get it through Amazon Prime?
I don't know. That would be that's where they should have it available. So my final thought, my concern was like, oh gosh, if Benji's behind this and Benji is like one of the guys who hasn't been, everybody else is like pivoted and transitioned into some new career that they're kind of doing well in or thriving in or have some visibility in. And so my concern was like, geez, if this is Benji's final attempt for like, you know, his last chapter of his surf career, and he's just trying to rehash what was his heyday, then it feels a little bit like Al Bundy talking about his 4 touchdowns that he scored in his high school football game. But I saw an image a couple days ago of him doing a lean back, like a backside lean back barrel at Surf Ranch. And I was like, boom, I'm already in that one image of Benji doing that one move. I'm sold. I was just like completely all in again because that's such a sick maneuver and he's so good at it, you know, that I was like, I'm all in.
And in many cases, I think there's totally nothing wrong to recognize my wheelhouse was here, right? Like this was the best thing that I ever did. That's okay. I'm just going to go back and redo it. Like I don't need to be upward and onward and trying to be something I'm not. I'm just going to really celebrate the moment of my life that I was best.
It could end up horribly. Often it ends up horribly when people do that.
I'm curious. I'm even more curious to see it now, though. I'm
watching
watching
Andrew Dice Clay do his same old routine at like the Golden Nugget in Vegas is just brutal. You know what I mean?
How great would it be to watch him in Waikiki though?
I'd be more inclined.
The Dice Man.
That's probably where he is performing this weekend on the streets with a change cup out.
Dice Man.
All right. Well, by the way, Fuel TV, they created an Instagram account. Not Fuel, Drive Through. It's drive_through_TV. So if you want to follow on Instagram, they're documenting everything on there. And I'm inclined to watch.
You made me go figure out how to add fuel to my host of weird little offshoot stuff that I have on my TV now.
Just kidding.
That I pay $700 a month for.
Death by a million paper cuts, nickels and dimes. All right. Well, I think it's about time we take a commercial break before we come back with Barrel or Not.
Let's do it.
Should we re-record? I feel like we should re-record our commercials that I've been replaying for a month. Are you up for it?
Sure. Yeah.
Can you freestyle it with me?
Yep.
All right. Let's start with Whoop. Chaz, today's episode is brought to you by Whoop, the digital personal fitness tracker and health coach.
4.0, David Lee. There to the 4.0.
So how is your experience? I know you've been training jujitsu. You've been tracking your surfing for well over a month now, maybe 2 months. How's your experience been?
It has changed my life, and I ain't kidding. Like I realized how much of a blob I was before Whoop whipped me every morning. And so now I honestly wake up and try to get, or purpose to get my Whoop. At first it was just try to get it above 10 on the strain scale. So the Whoop thing measures strain, recovery, and sleep. I've been mostly interested in my strain getting up above 10. It's on a scale of 21. And now I'm going to try to start hitting for like 14s, 15s. That's where I am. I'm a healthy man. I'm a fitter man, surfing better. I run now, David Lee. I go jog. I thought for a second that I was going to be able to break a 4-minute mile. That's how.
What?
Yeah, that's how Whoop hyped me up. And I just gave it a real go today. I've been like running every day and thought, okay, run for a month now. It's time for me to break the 4-minute mile. I ran as fast as I could for a mile, and I hit like a 7-minute mile. So I got to shave 3 minutes there. But I feel with Whoop, I can do it.
It's a long 3 minutes, my friend. You know who else is a really avid, he's like a marathoner. I think he's done 1 or 2 marathons, is CJ.
Oh, is he?
He's a major runner. Love
it, Siege. I wonder if Siege must Whoop then.
Yeah, and talk to him about shoes too if you need advice on shoes.
Oh, I totally
so Whoop, they make today's show possible. You can monitor, as Chaz says, your recovery, your sleep, your training, your health, and get personalized recommendations and coaching feedback with Whoop. It comes as a strap on your wrist. They have the new 4.0 version, which is sleeker, slimmer. It offers more feedback. And again, there's no notifications. There's no screen on it. It sends all of that information to an app on your phone that you can get all of that information from, and then you can share it with your coach, physician, personal trainer, anybody. So
what has fatherhood done to your Whoop strain?
The strain is way down, and actually sleeping is very interrupted as well. So I'm going to say that my current Whoop data is not reflective of my actual overall health, but it is what it is. It's situational, Chaz.
Yep, situational.
But whoop.com is where you go. You enter the promo code SURF and you'll save 15% at checkout. And you'll also get the 4.0 strap for completely free.
Amazing deal. And it will change your life too.
Whoop.com. Whoop.com, promo code SURF. Hey, Chaz, today's show is also brought to you by Athletic Greens, the health and wellness company that makes comprehensive daily nutrition really, really simple. Use athleticgreens.com/surf to support us and get a year's supply of vitamin D immunity boost for free.
Guess who's paranoid again, David Lee?
Who?
Me. I'm down to like 5 packs of Athletic Green.
Okay.
Athletic Greens left, AG, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm feeling scared.
I'll hook you up.
I need more. I need more. Athletic Greens is like a drug.
It really is. I just realized right now I owe Cersei that contact as well. So I'll send that to you guys after the show. And
Great.
I will, in that email, tell them to send you more AG1. And so talking about my sleep or having a newborn in the house, you know, nutrition can easily be the very first thing to kind of suffer and that you would sacrifice to save time. This makes sure that you never do. It is the super easy one scoop. I mean, 20 seconds is all that it takes. I just drank mine during this show. You dump one scoop of powder. It's all whole foods pulverized into a green powder, 75 vitamins, minerals, nutrients, covers your complete kind of dietary need. Multivitamins, multimineral, probiotic, superfood, greens, and more that fills all the gaps in your diet, supports energy, focus, aids with gut and health, digestion, supports a healthy immune system, blah, 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 so much more.
Organic, New Zealand.
That's all you need to say. They do it better than we do it.
Yeah, everything better.
They did a drive through New Zealand as well.
They did. It was. Did they? They should have been. They should do it again with Athletic Greens, AG1 aboard.
Fueling the mission. So to support us and to seek optimal health, athleticgreens.com/surf.
You won't regret.
All right, Chaz, we are back from commercial. Before we go to Barrel or Nah, is Eric Logan a Satanist?
He might be. I mean, I just find it too much of a coincidence that there was witches and warlocks out supping in Redondo Beach, which is right next door to Manhattan Beach, which everyone knows who lives in Manhattan Beach, Eric Logan, and everyone knows who loves to sup, Eric Logan. So the fact that there was a coven of occultists sweeping the sea, trading brooms for paddles, as the story went, I don't see how Eric Logan is not amongst them.
The evidence is in.
Yeah.
The evidence is there.
That's all you need. That's all I need. They're doing it there. He lives next door. He does that too. 1 + 1 + 1.
If you choose to ignore it, then you are just a sheep following, you know, the round earthers and everything else.
That's it. He is like one of those old people around Rosemary, just waiting for her to give birth to Satan. That's what he is.
So was that a Halloween thing that they were doing?
I think it was. I think it was like
Okay.
the second annual Redondo Beach something like witches on sup thing.
Got it.
Yeah, it was a slow story day.
Did Eric reach out to you about that?
He didn't.
Okay, because without even reading the story, just seeing Eric Logan doing a bottom turn and reading the caption, is Eric Logan a Satanist? I almost rolled my eyes. I could see him just like rolling his eyes so hard, just going, what is this even about? How is this related to me?
Yeah, the slow news day. Slow news day.
My favorite was somebody's comment. They're like, yeah, but that's a pretty good bottom turn. And then you replied to them, you're like, yes, satanically good.
Oh, Elo, love Elo.
He's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, Barrel or Nah, correcting people's grammar.
So no, Barrel, it is like so little wave even that Ben Gravy could not even surf it.
Well, I was waiting for you to jump on CJ during his call.
For saying what?
No, in lieu of Gabriel Medina retiring.
Yeah,
is how he started the call.
Oh, in lieu of.
I think he was using in lieu of to mean regarding Gabriel Medina's potential retirement.
In light of or whatever.
Yes.
But instead he said instead of Gabriel Medina retiring.
Right. So but you didn't call him out on it. And so I was like, oh, okay.
Never. I think that like speech tics, little funny misuses of stuff, that's what makes interesting people interesting, right? Like I think CJ is way more fun to listen to because he talks like CJ. He doesn't talk like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Like I'm all about malapropisms, using language incorrectly, and sticking with it. For a long time, I would insist on saying me and this person instead of this person and I, just because I thought me sounded warmer. I still like using me better. Me and John went to the store. It sounds nice. It sounds friendly. Yeah, no barrel.
Okay. Results are in. No barrel.
Let them lie.
Well, as I thought about it, I like for things to be a certain way. I like for things to be correct, but correcting people, like what is in it? What's the real, what are you trying to do there? Right? Like
you're trying to show that you're smart.
Exactly.
Like, that's the only thing that's happening.
That's what it comes down to. Did you understand what the point the person was trying to get across? Yes. Okay, then move on. No need for correction. You know what I mean?
No need. Let the English language just collapse into idiocracy.
And you're going to make them feel bad too. You're going to make them feel embarrassed or shamed or whatever. So for that reason alone, don't do it.
I mean, how much funner though did people sound in Idiocracy? Speaking of, like what was that game show? The Ouch.
I forget.
Oh, Ouch my balls. I think.
Yeah, I forget. I need to rewatch it. It's so good.
Idiocracy is the best. Yeah, the way they all talk though is so much more enjoyable than hearing people talk now.
Yeah,
we're on the way.
Speaking of, okay, well, I was going to go back to the metaverse, but forget it. I don't want to do it. Okay, barrel or not, having a beard without a mustache.
I'm going to say barrel if you're Amish. Barrel if you're, I do Greek Orthodox. There's some other religious tradition does beard, no stash. Otherwise, become Amish if you want to do it, more or less. Like there's certain.
I feel like I see it in the Middle East a little bit.
Yeah, they'll do it. They'll pull one every once in a while. They'll get away with it, but they should become Amish too, probably. If you want to do a beard, no stash, barrel for the Amish and straight go Amish. Otherwise, don't culturally appropriate.
If you're deciding to go with that facial hair look, you should convert religion.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Christian, it's not even, you're converting, not necessarily religion, but Amish are just
denomination.
Kind of, yeah. So you're just flipping a denom. That's okay. Yeah. Shave that stash and become Amish.
So you got to forego electricity. In lieu of electricity, grow a beard.
Exactly. You can trade in your car for a horse, grow a beard, shave your stash. Simple. You can, I feel like you could do the, what's it called that we've talked about on the show? The Frunkerfroggen or whatever, where the kids go wild for.
Oh yeah, Rumspringa.
Rumspringa, yeah.
Rumspringa. The beard with no stash, I've got to make the argument, doesn't look good on anybody. Like even for the Amish, it's not a good look. You look at that guy and you're like, gosh, Jeremiah would be a really handsome dude, except that facial hair is just horrendous, you know?
It's really a rough look. But the Amish, I'm going to say, to go stake it out as their thing. I mean, imagine all of the things out there already taken, right? Mustaches are taken by porn stars, beards by Muslims.
Goatees by
Satanists. Yeah. What else do you got? And so sideburns by Elvis Presley. Like you're really limited to the last thing left was the beard, no stash. And they said, okay, that's the last thing left. We're not going to complain. We're a simple folk and we'll take our medicine.
I'm wondering, is there what's the reason that they even did it?
I don't know. It must be, I can't even begin to speculate. Is it a mark? Is it, this is who we are and we're going to show who we are with this. You're not going to know who we are by our horse and buggy or lack of electricity. You're going to know who we are by our no stash.
Right. Maybe so. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going no barrel, full stop, no barrel. I feel like a beard without a mustache is like having a wetsuit hood on without booties.
Ooh.
You got to do the booties. There's a sequence. You go, once you're in a full suit, and there's a sequence to get to a full suit too, but once you're in the full suit and the water temp goes down 2 degrees, booties are the next thing to come on. Then hood, then gloves, right?
I mean, yes.
And if you go gloves, no hood, no booties, what is that? That's just like a neck beard.
That's true. I will give you the sequence, except for if the Amish surfed with hood, no booties, I would say good on you, Amish.
So the Amish surfing, the facial hair equivalent to an Amish surfing would be them wearing trunks with booties and gloves.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
And they're wet.
While riding a wooden surfboard.
The good news is there's no Amish people listening to this to send their hatred.
I don't know. I really would love to have one Amish listener. I'm gonna hope.
Yeah, he's on Rumspringer right now, and he's really into surf podcasts. He's in between doing bumps of blow and having sex, listening to a podcast. All right, cool. All right, so you're going barrel, I'm going
split in the peak.
Okay, cool. Split the peak. Our final barrel or nos submission comes from a listener, and give me a second to pull it up.
What's up, David and Chaz? This is Anthony in Chicago, Illinois, by way of Ocean Shores, Washington, and Pensacola, Florida. I've got a little barrel or nah. Changing your kid's name after 2 weeks. I was actually named Austin for 2 weeks. I was born with a midwife in a house. So no birth certificate right away. My name was Austin. Mom decided, not really an Austin. I'm going to call you Anthony. So barrel or not, changing your child's name. All right. Keep up the good work, boys. Later.
How appropriate was that?
So appropriate. Funny enough, guess who had a boy your exact same birthday as your son?
Who?
Derek Riley's daughter and son-in-law, James Pryor. Austin James Pryor, born the exact same day, maybe even the same hour as your Austin.
Crazy.
Yep. Austin James, Austin Lee. Someday they'll meet.
Congratulations to the Pryors.
Yeah.
Is it their first?
It's their first.
Wow. I wonder what weight and length. We got to run all the numbers.
I mean, it might be exact down the line.
Yeah.
The changing after 2 weeks, I'm going to go full barrel. I'm going to say, if you name your kid something and it's just not working, why saddle with them? Why saddle them with that the rest of their lives? You as a parent need to make bold decisions. You need to make bold decisions regularly for the health and well-being of your young children, right? They can't protect themselves. It's on you to protect them. And so you better protect them from a bad name. If you're thinking it doesn't fit, change it. I'm gonna give it a time limit though of, I think 2 weeks is about right.
Yeah, that's fair. I think this is super barrel, and I think this needs to become commonplace. This makes so much more sense than committing to a name before you ever meet the kid. This is like an 18-year-old getting out of high school and having to choose what they want to do for the rest of their lives and go to college. Yeah, exactly.
You can't get out of it.
Can't. You say you want to be a lawyer? Cool, go to college, and you're going to be a lawyer for the next 50, 40 years, whatever it is.
And you don't want to be a lawyer anymore, tough beans. Get back in.
It's asinine. Yeah. And so I think you should have a roster of maybe it's 2, maybe it's 5 names, and that baby comes out of the womb, you spend a week or 2 and you discover, is it an Austin or is it an Anthony? And you let the baby decide.
Yep. I mean, I'm all down with, of course, giving a name. I think some things just work. I mean, is your boy an Austin?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. It's most things work, I think. But if they don't, be bold enough to change.
I'm curious if our listener, Anthony, AKA Austin, wants to call back in and let us know, does he feel more like an Austin? What if he's never felt at home in his Anthony shoes? And he's thinking, man, I could have been an Austin. I feel more like an Austin. What does he prefer?
Great point. But I'm also going to say tough beans for him. Your parents make decisions and you've got to live with them. And even if they chose wrong with the Anthony, in his case, that's tough. The adult who changes their name because they don't feel like their name, I think is no barrel.
I mean, yeah, people are changing gender, because they don't feel at home in their skin. And so I think it's totally okay. If your parents named you wrong, that's on them. That's not on you.
I'm going to say no. I'm not going to get into the gender here, but I'm going to go straight on to name. No, you are your name. Tough beans. Suck it
Right.
up.
All right. Well, we're splitting the peak again.
Yeah. Sweet.
Well, hey, good to be back in the Zen room with you.
Great to be back in your garage. And it'll be even better when we're back at Album Surf next week.
Cannot wait. And I think Matt will be in the Maldives. I never know.
Are we sneaking a competing surfboard shaper into his mecca when he's gone?
Yeah, we are. Well, so Britt Merrick was scheduled to be on the show last Thursday, and I canceled because Austin was born on Wednesday, and Britt doesn't want to do the Zoom thing. So we're going to reschedule to do in person. But if we do in person, he has to come into the line of fire at Album Surfboards. CI versus Album.
A lot of angry glares from Album's already cantankerous staff.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So he will for sure.
Great.
We will do it there. I don't know if it'll be next week, but we will reschedule and make it happen.
Great.
So, all right, Chaz, thanks to Whoop, of course, whoop.com, promo code surf. Thanks to athleticgreens.com/surf. Thank you to our listeners who also provide the foundation and bedrock of support for us.
So much thanks to the listeners.
We gave away a surfboard. This one right behind me, this Tim Pony Gillespie, and Steve Hickson won it. Steve Hickson is 64 years old, and he still surfs 2 to 3 days a week.
Fantastic.
How great is that?
Well deserving.
I know. I thought so too. So, all right, Chaz, until next week.
Get barrel.